Oh, what's up, folks?
On task. On task. Here we go.
Here we go. It's squirrels are already starting. All right. It is time for another episode of Rebel Nerd Radio. I am one half of your team, Steve, and with me is JD. How's it going?
Good. Good. Actually, not. There's storms, but they're all the way over in West Wichita,
Oh,
so I
good.
don't have to worry about them tonight. So I'm actually kind of shocked. I made it yet another back-to-back episode of the show without having to worry about going to work. So that was nice.
Very nice. Very nice. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Very
Um,
nice.
very nice. So tonight we are on episode. Crap! Didn't I just talk about this?
218.
218. We're on episode 218, and tonight we are talking about the last story arc in the last season of the Clone Wars.
I took a minute to get out.
Well, I was getting pausing for dramatic effect. I've seen a lot of people call it the Siege of Mandalore arc, which, yeah, partially true. There was a lot of that was a huge part of it, but there was more going on than just that. But that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, and but we will get to that because we got other stuff to talk about before we get there. Right now we have Steve Spawn in the chat room. How are you doing there, sir? Good to see you again. And we have Brennan. Yes. Two of our patrons.
Good evening, fellas.
Yeah.
I'm sure more people will show up. Not as many people here yet, but I'm sure more people will show up. I mean, after all, this is the good one to talk about.
This is. So, before we get into everything, we have kind of a sad announcement to mention. Over the week, a beloved Star Wars actor passed away. Another Star Wars actor has left us. In this case, it is Kenneth Colley, who played Admiral Piet. You know him, you love him. Well, you might not love him, but
maybe not love him. Maybe not love him, but you know, the actor was probably a pretty cool guy.
The actor is a very important part, I think, in the Star Wars legacy. So it was very sad to see him go. You remember? Man, do you remember how old he was?
No, I don't.
He was.
I saw the announcement that I did not see how old he was. I want to say he was in his 80s, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, he was. Okay, yeah, he was 87.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, he was a big part of Empire Strikes Back, as well as Return of the Jedi. A lot of people may not know this because I don't know how many of our listeners actually watch this particular brand of humor, but he was also a part of the movie Monty Python's Life of Brian. Yes, he actually played two roles in that film. He played the character Ken Russell. He didn't play. No, Ken Russell was a director that he worked with. What was the role in what did he play in Monty Python? Oh, he played Jesus. He played Jesus in Monty Python.
Nice.
Brian. Yeah. So RP, sad to see another Star Wars actor float away into the Force. But what you got going this week? Anything interesting?
Besides work?
Yeah, besides work.
No. I mean, it was 4th of July weekend, but of course I was on standby.
Yeah.
I actually got to it wasn't really a bad standby, to be honest with you. So those of you who are not familiar with what I do for standby, we actually have to stay on call. We get paid to be on call. And basically it's one of those things where if they didn't put people on call, there would be nobody around if somebody was to lose power. So they pay us to stay around on holidays and stay on standby. So that way there's guaranteed response to power outages and things like that. And actually it really wasn't a bad weekend. We only had a couple trouble calls, one crew call, but Sunday night we got hit with 70-mile-an-hour winds on a small storm that came through the town that I live near, which is El Dorado, Kansas. And a lot of trees down, a lot of trees on services, a lot of trees on wire. I hate to be that guy, but I'm gonna say it anyway. If you experience storms as like they had in Texas, and may the force be with all those people in Texas, we're definitely praying, thinking of them, hoping that I know the situation's pretty catastrophic down there, and we just hope that everybody, if they've perished, they can be recovered, or hopefully we'll get some very good hopefully we'll get some good stories out of it, that some people survived that thought they weren't. But hopefully our hearts go out to those people, of course. But in those situations, in storms and stuff like that, you don't want to sacrifice your personal protection for um trying to get to loved ones, or trying to clean up, or that kind of stuff. And I see a lot of people in storms who touch down power lines or drive over down power lines and mess with that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And just please don't do it. Please don't do it. I've seen people get hurt. I've seen what happens. I've seen the aftermath. It's not fun. So keep yourselves safe. Make sure yourselves are safe. Make sure you're staying safe in these situations. And before you try to help somebody else, make sure that you're in a good position to do so. So, but yeah, other than that, it was a decent 4th of July. We didn't have a whole lot going on. Of course, I couldn't do a whole lot because I was obligated to answer the phone. So, but yeah, so that was
Yeah.
my weekend.
Yeah. Spencer,
Yeah,
I don't want to hear about it. And I definitely don't want to hear any spoilers after you see it.
yeah, no kid, no spoilers.
Dude, this
I
is the
know we're not.
movie.
I
This
know
is the
we're not
movie.
spoiler free on this show, but
This is the movie some of us have been waiting like 2 years to see.
hmm
And I really hate that I had to miss the early screening tonight. I don't get to see it till Thursday. I'm freaking out over it. It's finally here. Yes, we're talking about Superman. Speaking of Superman,
hmm
our most recent of Kryptonian Chronicles is now on the YouTube channel, so you can go check that out. Here, let me put a link in the chat if you don't get on our social media all that much. Well, I'm trying to get into the chat. Hang on. There we go. All right, there it is. It's in the chat. That's a link to it. It's our Kryptonian Chronicles. We called it the Man of Steel Showdown. It was JD, our patron, and my friend Dave Brown and myself did our ranking of live action Superman actors. So it was a
And
fun
I got called.
episode.
I got called high in the process.
Oh yeah, I do remember
No,
that.
yeah, no. It's a lot of fun. It's cool to see where everybody ranks them, because not everybody has the same opinion on who they think plays
Yeah, yeah,
certain characters the best. And one of them is kind of iconic as Superman. It's fun to kind of hear people's opinion on who they think
yeah.
did the best job. And
Now I
me and
think
Steve
if
and
I
Dave.
remember correctly, you and I agreed on our number one.
Yes, we agreed
But
on number one. We were
we're not going to
close on
say
a
who that
couple others.
was. We're not going to say
Yeah,
who
we
that
were
was. You got to
we were
watch the
close
video.
on a couple of others, but we agreed on number one. Dave, absolutely not. Dave has a completely different opinion. And I urge you, if you're a Superman fan, I urge you to watch it because it's a lot of fun.
It is a
We
lot
had
of fun.
we had a good time. We had a good time with it.
And yeah, and Dave will be back with us when we talk about our next episode. If I remember right, we're going to be talking about the Death of Superman comic. But yeah, so we got that coming up on Thursday. Superman, I'm going to see that. Looking forward to it. I didn't watch any movies over the week. There was nothing out. I was just like,
oh,
and I didn't really feel like going to rewatch anything.
mm-hmm.
There wasn't anything. I was like, I got to go watch this one again. Yeah, no, I just wasn't in the mood. So saving all my movie excitement for Thursday. I did another episode of the Comic Den with Spencer. We talked about a Superman comic, kind of gearing up for the movie. We talked about shit. The book was right here on my desk. Where the hell did it go? Oh, it's up there. I put it back on the shelf. Superman's Secret Origin by Jeff Johns.
Nice.
And the overall premise of that episode was, if you are going to read a Superman origin story, this would be the one to read. It is really good. But yeah, so we'll be back Sunday. We're going to be doing another Superman story. Spencer, are you still in the chat? I don't remember which one we're going to talk about. Superman for All Seasons. Superman for All Seasons by Jeff Loeb.
Nice.
So we got that. Did I do anything else? I don't think I did anything else. Nope.
Did you do anything good for the 4th?
Nah, it was uneventful. We didn't really celebrate. I watched the Clone Wars. What was that?
Well, that's not a horrible way to celebrate.
I did some comic book reading. I did rewatch a couple of Marvel movies. I rewatched the first and last Thor movie. Actually, now that I think about it, I also watched Ragnarok. I rewatched all of the Thor movies except for Thor: Dark World, which
that's okay. You can miss
it. And
yeah, I was going to say, yeah, you can. I liked the Thor movies, and that one was like,
that movie sucked ass. That was like, I'll tell you what, there is a Marvel movie that came out that before it came out, The Dark World was the MCU movie by which all other MCU movies were measured for their badness. So like, well, it wasn't great. It wasn't Thor: The Dark World bad, but there's a movie that came out after The Dark World that took its place. So,
which one was that?
The Eternals.
The Eternals.
That movie was dog shit.
Everybody said that, and I was like, eh. I mean, I wasn't like overly impressed with it, but I was kind of like, this doesn't make sense. But okay,
that movie sucked. So yeah, I watched 3 of the 4 Thor movies. Mostly because I just got the urge because I've been reading the Thor comic books. Been going back and doing some Thor reading.
The only reason I can't. I watched Captain America: The First Avenger the other day because I like Captain America. He's probably one of my top 3 Marvel characters. I love Captain America. And I think I rewatched The First Avenger, and I rewatched like Winter Soldier. Yeah, those are like awesome. Yeah, heck yeah.
This came out last week. It's the new number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Written by Chip Zdarsky. This is a variant cover, by the way. This isn't the regular cover.
Nice.
But it's really good. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of it.
Nice.
Yeah, I like the Captain America movies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Winter Soldier is actually my favorite MCU movie. Not just my favorite Captain America movie, but my favorite MCU movie.
Oh yeah, I love that. Winter Soldier is probably one of the best. Yeah, there was so much going on, and it was so cool. Yeah,
Love that
I
movie.
mean, yeah, I liked Steve's Steve Rogers' story arc throughout the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was good throughout the whole
Like,
thing, and I thought, and I before I saw that Chris Evans was going to play Captain America, I had remember him from other movies, and I was like, "There's no way that dude is not going to be able to pull off Captain
yeah.
America."
Well, I knew
And
he
then when
had
I
played,
saw him,
yeah, he had played Human Torch in that role.
he not
Also
only
played
had he
Fantastic
played
Four
two,
movies.
not only had he played Human Torch, but he was in The Losers. He was in which is not a very well known movie because it didn't do very well. But it also he was also in he was in like a spoof movie called Not Another Teen
Not
Movie.
another teen movie. I remember him from
Yeah.
that. Yes.
Yeah, he was in Not Another Teen Movie. And I was like, okay, he was funny, he was cool. And then I saw him in The Losers, he was kind of nerdy, and I was like, okay, whatever. And then I saw him as the Human Torch, and I went, I like Chris Evans. And they said Chris Evans is going to play Captain America. And I was like,
Huh?
huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What? No, this
But
dude, no, come on.
now I can't see anybody else in that role.
No, well, it's kind of like RDJ as Iron Man.
Yeah.
you can't, I mean, yeah.
To
Yeah.
be fair, I would say about 98%, let's go with 97% of the casting in the MCU is just spot on.
Yeah.
RDJ is Iron Man, Chris Evans is Captain America, Chris Hemsworth is Thor,
Scarlett Johansson is Black Widow.
Black Widow.
Yeah. And I actually love
what's his face as Doctor Strange.
And I really do. I really loved Hawkeye, the TV series. And I really want to see Kate Bishop and Yelena back together again because I loved the banter between the two of them. And when they said that what's her face that plays that plays it, yeah, no kidding. That was gonna play the new Hawkeye, the girl. What the heck is her name? I can't remember.
Well, the character is Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop. I can't remember the girl's name now. It's escaping me for a second.
Haley
Stanfield. Stanfield.
Yeah.
I was a little worried about her too. And then when I saw them together, I was like, okay, they're freaking hilarious together. I loved that. I loved the chemistry between the two of them. I was like, hell yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, I really can't think of too many people that I wouldn't be saying, that person doesn't fit in that role. I mean, I can't think of really anybody off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, but I'm sure there is one that I just haven't thought of.
Yeah, so yeah, I've kind of gotten back into the Captain Americas. Like I said, that's probably my top 3 as far as Marvel characters.
Go pick this one up. It's good.
Yeah. I might have to do that.
But first, you should read some more Superman comics because
I got a lot of catching up to do that because now you told me today that I got a new one that I got to read.
Yeah, that one's not super long.
That's good. That's good.
I think it's only. Hold that thought.
Yeah.
How many issues it is?
Okay, I'm holding that thought.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought, folks.
Hold that thought. Don't do it. No.
Don't leave the studio or don't leave the don't leave the chat.
Don't leave the live program.
Because I don't remember the stuff off the top of my head. I did just finish reading it though, so I should probably see 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 5 issues long.
Okay. That shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah.
Is that on that Marvel Unlimited thing? Because I still have that.
Well, since it's Superman, it would not be on Marvel.
Oh.
It's on DC Infinite.
Here's my sign. DC Infinite. Yes, that's what I meant. I have DC Infinite. That's what I meant.
It'll be in there. Just
I swear I'm not an idiot. I swear.
Yeah,
I swear I'm not an idiot.
I can tell you, man. I was talking about this on the Discord earlier today, but Jeff Johns has a really good understanding of the character. But anyway, so yeah, that was my week. Watching Thor movies, reading Thor comics, and getting prepared for Superman. Oh man.
I think this is going to be the first weekend, as long as we don't have any like major storms come through. This is going to be the first weekend that me and the woman will have off together, and because she's been doing a volunteer for charity fireworks stand, and then on top of all the storms that I've had, it's been a busy month for the both of us.
Yeah.
We haven't really
You know
seen a lot of
what?
each other in the last month.
You know what, though? I'm off work on Saturday. I could drive up to Wichita. We could watch
There
it.
you go. The three of us. Bring the wife, man. That'll be a double date.
She's,
We'll go see
she's not
Superman.
a she's not a she's not a Superman fan. She's not into that stuff.
Hmm.
That's all right. Nah.
If you do, let me know, because when I drive to Wichita, I actually have some things I need to bring you that you need to take back with you. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you'll see me next month. Oh, speaking of which, speaking of next month, which you will see, it is 31 days until Rebel Scum Con.
Nice.
Heck yeah. Looking forward to that.
Heck yeah.
First Star Wars convention since 2019 for me. That seems like so long ago.
Mm-hmm. And not only do we have tickets for the ScumCon, but we also have tickets for Boonta Eve celebration on the Friday night.
That's the karaoke thing, right?
That's the dance, karaoke, sit around, drink, have fun, have a bunch of conversations. Yeah, that's that thing.
I have heard across the Discord that somebody that was in our chat room a few minutes ago is going to be down there as well, and has gotten their 3-day passes.
Nice.
So that'll be interesting.
That'll be awesome.
I'll get to meet him face to face for the first time.
Nice.
That'll be cool.
That'll be cool. That'll be cool. Hopefully we get to see a couple people, because I heard a couple people are going to show up.
I don't know if Frosty Mari is coming.
Last I heard from Mari, she said she was not going to be able to make it because unfortunately a friend of theirs was having a wedding in Vegas and they could not do both.
That's right, because I had a conversation with her about that. I was like, "How dare your friend have a wedding during Rebel ScumCon?"
See, we're here, Steve, because I had that same conversation. I say, "How dare you brush us off for your friend's wedding?" I mean, it's us.
What is wrong with your friend doing a wedding during Star Wars convention?
Priorities, people. Priorities.
Get your priorities straight.
Priorities. Don't plan weddings when there's Star Wars shit going on.
No shit. I mean, unless you're going to do your wedding at Rebel ScumCon.
Okay, now that would be acceptable. If you're going to do it at Celebration or you're going to do it at Rebel ScumCon, I'm fine with that.
Heck yeah.
I mean, that is the ultimate priority.
That would be a wedding.
If I was getting married.
Yeah. That's a shared priorities. You can, that
is the epitome of killing two birds with one stone.
Yeah, killing two birds with one stone. So yeah, we'll have Rebel ScumCon next month.
Fun.
Sometimes we'll get some Williams chicken. Look forward to that. I have to show you that comic book shop.
Yes,
we got to go there. We got to go to Plano and do that.
We got to go to what's that place? There's a store down there called the Holocron, which is a all Star Wars store.
Yeah.
That we'll head there too.
Quite a weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to be busy. To be honest with you.
Yeah, we're going to be busy.
We're
not
going to
get much sleep. We're not going to get much sleep.
When it comes to Star Wars, sleep's for losers.
That's fair.
I'm just saying.
Alrighty.
I'm just saying.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Let's talk about our social media. I feel like we do this every week. Do we really need to do this every week?
What? Oh, the social media?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Anyway,
Yeah.
So yeah, we're on social media. You don't need to remember a bunch of links, though. You can just remember one link. It's scrolling underneath us right now. For those of you listening to the audio, it is bio.link/Rebel Nerd Radio. That will take you to this page right here. That didn't take very long to move up, did it? So we got our social media there, links there at the top. our YouTube, our Instagram, our Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, some other crap. Beneath that, we've got the link to the most recent episode on our YouTube channel. So you can check that out if you missed the live feed. And if you missed the live feed, what is wrong with you? Anyway, underneath that, we've got a link to our merchandise store where you can get t-shirts and coffee mugs and cool stuff like that. And then below that, we have our Discord link. I've been talking enough. Why don't you go ahead and talk about our Discord?
Why do I always got to be the one to talk about Discord?
I don't know. I got to give him something to do.
I know a lot of our people that shows up in the chat regularly, and a lot of the people that listen on the Rewind are part of our Discord channel. And if you're not part of the Discord channel, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I mean, if you don't want more of this swirly, nutty things in your life, I don't know what's wrong with you. Your priorities are still messed up. So if you do want to be a part of it and you do want to continue conversations, or you just want to be a part of a good group of a bunch of great people that show up in our chat all the time, and me and Steve are always in there talking and stuff, please join our Discord channel and be a part of the squirrely nuttiness on a daily basis.
Yes. Come join the Shenana Nerds.
Yeah, it's about the size of it. Shenanigans. Yeah.
All right. I'll let you talk about the next topic too. Why don't you talk about our Patreon?
This is JD gets to promote Rebel Nerd Radio stuff today.
Heck yeah. Like I said, I got something to do.
I can't. No, I can't hear. I wonder what the heck that noise was. I can't guarantee the same pickup, the same ability to wake you up in the morning that coffee can, but we are cheaper than coffee. And if you enjoy what we do and you like exclusive content, if you like early access to content, if you like hearing us fumble through things like Cyberpunk and Star Wars role-playing games and more stuff, good stuff to come, please consider becoming a part of our Patreon. Really, all it does is it helps us keep the lights on, helps us pay the StreamYard bill. And like I said, you get exclusive access to content. You get also, as soon as Steve gets around to it, we've got some great stickers that we're going to be sending out to everybody. All of our Patreons. We're getting new designs all the time. Steve's coming up with all kinds of good designs all the time, and we'll be sending those out. And yeah, we also have a good Patreon, a great Patreon, wonderful Patreon community. And yeah, and like I said, it's a simple $2 a month just to help us stay on and pay the StreamYard bill and help the pinch a little bit. So
cool. Speaking of designs,
ooh.
I have been farting around with a design specific to Kryptonian Chronicles. So I'm still playing around with it. I don't have it quite the way I want it to.
Do I sense the addition of a different type of sticker being handed out to the patrons?
Yes, you do. As soon as I get it done, I gotta make it look the way I want it to look. It's just, I'm not happy with it yet.
Oh, okay.
Still working on it though.
Right.
So in addition to all that cool stuff that you get as a patron for, again, only $2 a month. We thought about raising the price, haven't done it yet. You should get on board while it's still only $2. I probably won't change it. I don't have that kind of motivation. But you also get to hear your name live before our studio audience. So you get to hear your name on YouTube. So, without further ado, do you want to do the thank yous tonight?
I've done everything else. Sure, why not?
Yeah, go.
Thank you to Mr. Dave Brown, Kelly, and Chris, to Justin, to Charlie, to Chantel, Matthew, Steve, Brennan, who's in our chat. Steve was in our chat. Mr. Taco Cat, and one of our newer ones, Brian. We appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for being a part of our Patreon, and just Yes, we appreciate all the support and helping us keep the StreamYard payment going. So
Heck yeah. Thank you
thank you,
all.
thank you so much. We do appreciate you.
Yeah. And now it is time for, well, I don't have anything, so it's just going to be JD showing us.
It's time for our completely not suggestive part of our evening that we like to call showing our
Showing our
thingies.
thingies. And now we're going to be whipping it out. Woohoo! Whipping out our thingies.
You
I don't
seriously
have
don't have
anything
anything?
to show.
You don't have anything?
I mean, I showed here. This is what I got this week. It is not Star Wars related, but I got a bunch of comic books.
Nice.
I
I've seen one with the M&Ms on the back of it.
that is yep, that's the M&M special edition. No, that's
Nice.
just an X-Men comic book.
Nice.
Actually, the M&M is also on the back of, must be a Marvel thing. On the back of Spider-Gwen.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, actually, I'll go ahead and tell the story again. I told it on Comic Den. Typically, I read most of my comics, like new releases, digitally. Every once in a while, I'll grab something physical because I just want a physical copy of it for whatever reason, nostalgia. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But typically, I get all my new issues through digital means. And then if there's a trade paperback that I want, a graphic novel or something like that, I go to the local comic book store because I want to support the local comic book shop somehow. Anyway, so last Wednesday, I went to the comic book shop specifically because I wanted a physical copy of this one. And that was the only reason I went. I'm like, I'm just going to get that. But while I was grabbing that one, this book, which I don't typically read, it's not like a part of my normal read list.
Right.
It called out to me. And it said, "Buy me, Steve." It's a copy of Immortal Thor number 25. So I bought these two, took them home, sat down and read them. And I got to thinking, I really miss holding a comic book in my hand and reading it. And the main reason that I stopped buying physical comic books is a problem that you have as well, and that is space. Comic books can tend to take up space if you have a lot of them, and I do. But I was like, you know what? I'll figure out the space thing, and I'm going to start buying my new stuff physically again. So later that day, probably like 2 or 3 hours after I bought those, I went back and got the rest of these. So I got, what else did I get? I got that X-Men that I mentioned. I got that Spider-Gwen. I got the new issue of Batgirl. That's a thing that I read pretty normally.
Nice.
And then I got this Uncanny X-Men Prelude to a Future Past. It's kind of it's like a prequel to Days of Future Past from the 80s.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, written by the guy who wrote Days of Future Past. So I picked that up, and yeah. So yeah, there's my show and tell. There's my thingies.
Nice.
Show us your thingy, JD.
I actually have two. And I know there's not a lot of people in the chat right now, but I'm going to show this. I already checked this with Steve to see if he knew who it was. And let me pin it down here a little bit. I bought this t-shirt the other day. I seen it online, actually I seen it on Etsy. And I was going to throw up a challenge to the people in the chat, although there's not very many people in the chat. But
yeah, what's up with that? They all watching Superman tonight?
Huh?
Are they all watching Superman tonight?
Probably.
Bastards.
Probably. But I'll give if anybody, if we can be friends, if you can tell me what this symbol is, what this is from. I'll just throw the challenge out there. You can tell me what this is from. We can be friends. So
just to let you know, it took me a couple of tries.
yeah, took him a couple tries to get it. It's not Star Wars related, so you'll have to think outside of Star Wars. But yeah, there's the symbol there. So if you're in the chat and if you can tell me, especially if you can't look it up and you can tell me what this is, we can definitely be friends.
I will tell you this. I'm gonna give him a hint. It's not Buck Rogers.
It's not Buck Rogers. Steve guessed Buck Rogers. It's not Buck Rogers. The other thing that my main thingy. Yes, I have a. I'm wearing a thingy and I have a main thingy. This is actually going to be a 2-part series because I'm going to get this one out and then I have to get the other one out because I've been sitting on both of these for a while and I actually got this one in early, but I want to get it out because it's very. Huh?
You didn't break it, did you?
They didn't break it? No, I didn't break it. Why?
You said you were sitting on it.
Steve. Steve's got jokes today. But no, I've been keeping the hold of the other one that I have, and I got this one in finally about a week ago, and I want to get both of these out and get them displayed. So this is going to be a 2-part series. I actually was not expecting this until October, and I actually got it early, which is fantastic. But it is, and I will unbox it for you folks here today. So don't worry. It is the Black Series helmet of the Stranger.
Yeah.
Pretty stinking awesome. I actually saw a live one of these in Japan. They actually gave Manny Jacinto one of these. How do they sell it? Is that how they say his name? Is it Jacinto?
Close enough.
Yeah, sorry if I'm butchering it, I apologize. But they actually gave him one of these live on stage, and we were standing there. Me, myself, my girlfriend, and Maury were all standing there watching him put this on, and he got the first one. So I was really excited when they said it was coming in early. Hang on. Get cheese in there. There we go. Okay. Anyway, this thing is huge.
That's what she said.
Yeah, my thing is huge.
Thing is huge. Man, that looks pretty. That's very detailed.
It's freaking awesome, man. It's got some great detail to it. There's a lot of it's got some really cool detail to it.
So the second part is going to be his cod piece.
Is he wearing a cod piece? I don't think he was wearing a cod piece.
I don't remember. Did he?
No, I don't think so. Does this actually come apart? Or I'm going to break it or some crap. I don't know. But anyway, here, let me see if I can fit it on my bald head. Yeah, I can't see nothing out of this thing. Wait a minute. Hang on. Oh, that's why. It's like set for somebody with an actual small head instead of gigantor size head like mine. I'm trying here, people. I'm trying to adjust the strap is what I'm doing. I'm trying to make the thingy in my thingy bigger. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Make of that what you want. Okay, let's try that again.
You're not getting off your head.
Oddly enough, I can see more in this thing than I thought I could.
You breaking shit?
I dropped I dropped my stuff. Hang on. Wait, there. Okay. But anyway, yeah. The Stranger's helmet from the Black Series. Very cool. Very neatly detailed, as you can see.
Very cool.
Very cool. It's bigger than what I thought, and you can actually see more out of it than what I thought you could. And I don't think, yeah, I'm pretty sure this isn't the voice changing one. So no, this doesn't voice change or nothing. So this is pretty cut and dry. But yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
So on the subject of costuming, I don't know why I thought of that.
Hmm.
We're kind of wearing a costume, sort of.
Hmm.
I had, and this ties into our main topic tonight.
Uh-huh.
Um, if I had the money and had the patience to do it, I
Uh-huh.
thought of a costume uh, that would fit me well. Like
Okay.
I think would work out well for me and my uh, larger physique. Um, Rebels era Rex.
Yeah. Yeah. That would work.
I got the
Yeah,
beard.
you could do it.
I got the
I'm
beard.
telling you,
I got
man.
the
I'm
bald
telling you, man.
head.
You need to look at Etsy. Etsy
Yeah,
has some wonderful costume makers, and some of them, if you're not really worried about like Rebel Legion type stuff, like I'm doing, like I'm getting ready to do, and
yeah.
it doesn't have to be like perfect or that accurate. They
Well,
actually
would
make
that be
some really
Rebel
nice stuff.
Legion or would that be 501st?
No, Rebels era Rex would be Rebel Legion probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be cool. And
Yeah.
even if I like didn't make it, it didn't necessarily have to. If I don't want to be part of the group per se, I could just do it not so 100% screen accurate.
Oh yeah,
Other
one
than
hundred percent. If honestly, if I'll be honest with you, if I wasn't worried about being part of Rebel, like I said, being part of, if anybody knows, being part of Rebel Legion is your outfit has to meet a certain set of standards.
yeah,
And the only reason I'm doing it is because I'm really kind of into the I want to do I have a good cosplay already. I have to step it up just a little bit, even with as good as I have it. I still have to step it up a little bit. And I've been wanting to add things to it already, but I ran into some people in Japan that were part of the Rebel Legion, and they actually suggested that I try to do it in my area, and I told them where I lived, and they said, yeah, they said they could use people everywhere that go out and do events or they do charity work or whatever. And I told them I said I would, and then they sent me a list of the requirements. And so far, the people that I've talked to have been very receptive. They've been very welcoming. I just have to get my outfit right in order to participate and to
mhm.
be an official member of the group. And yeah, if you do an outfit, it has to be pretty screen accurate. It has to meet a certain set of standards, especially if you're doing a certain character. If you're doing a certain character, not only does your outfit have to be on point, but you're also your personal look, and I mean like features.
Mhm.
Your facial features have to match whatever that character is too, so that you look a lot like that individual as well. So I mean, like with the like for you, Steve, the bald and the beard, you would do pretty good with that, as far as that goes. So yeah, that would be actually be a good costume for you.
So I just found I'm looking at Etsy and I just found a well, what does all this come with? I can't tell. Uh it just says clone trooper armor, old Captain Rex, but I can't see what all it comes with. Oh,
Hey,
here it
there's
is. Oh, okay. Here, let me share what I'm looking at.
Joy. By the way, Joy and Tina are in the chat, and Matthew. Look at that, we're getting more people in. Hi guys.
There you go. That's the I think those are all the pieces that it comes with.
The only thing I think you probably have to do is you're probably gonna have to paint it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's yeah.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah. Yep. That's it.
Yeah, and look, it's less than $500, so
Dude, let me explain something to you. You're actually getting away cheap with that.
yeah.
At $500, that's cheap, and that's just the armor. So you'd have to buy the undergarment that goes along with it and the set of
Yeah,
boots to
yeah.
match.
I mean, it's a start.
So
It's a start if
yeah,
I wanted to
yeah.
do it. I'd have to see how screen accurate it is if I did want to do Rebel Legion, but
Mhm.
yeah, thanks for coming in, Joy. Good to see you and Tina
Oh,
and
Tina.
Matthew,
Matthew finally showed up.
stuck at soccer practice, and it's as hot as the devil's ball sack out there.
Thank you, Matthew, for being so descriptive.
Thank you for that picture, that imagery. Wow. Yeah. So I don't know.
Hey, I know, I understand, Tina, and that's okay. As long as you show up, we don't care. We're just glad to have you guys here.
Yeah, we know how that time change is all screwed up. Yeah, Captain Rex would be interesting.
Captain Rex would be fun. I thought about doing it myself because I grow out the beard. I just would be a huge,
You
really
got the beard
tall.
and the bald head too.
Yeah, yep. I've actually asked people have asked me why I don't do the Captain Rex cosplay, and I said, well, because I have the Jedi first.
Yeah.
And between the material that I just bought to make both my robes, the new robes that actually fit me, that are actually long enough, between the material that I bought and the just the new boots that are actually screen accurate and able to use for a Jedi costume, I spent over $500 just on that. Just so you know.
But the cool thing, I mean, the version of the Rex that I'm going for, I wouldn't necessarily have to have the helmet.
No,
Yeah.
no, it would be cool if you did. And like if you went to something, like say if you went to LA and you were going to do that, then I could like mail you the one that I have.
Yeah.
Because I have one. Yeah,
Boy,
I can mail
not
you.
acquainted with the scrotum of Beelzebub.
That's good. That's a good
Tina
thing.
says it's pretty fucking hot here too, but it's Arizona in summer, so it's hotter than Satan's taint.
Arizona's hot all the time.
Satan's taint. Band name called it.
Taint, huh?
Band name called it. Coming out with a new band called Satan's Taint.
Satan's taint.
It'll be
But yeah, I mean, I could mail that to you, and then you could use it, and then yeah, you would have a helmet too, or you could probably find a Black Series Rex helmet for sale.
Well, interestingly enough, when I did that search, one of the first things that did pop up was his helmet.
Nice.
I don't know how accurate it is, but it is. Hang on.
And so he's gonna throw out a cat. There we go.
Yeah, there it is, right there. It's yeah, I don't know how accurate that is, but
who's the seller?
Cybercraft Gear Garage. But yeah, the helmet, just the helmet itself is right here.
It looks pretty tight. That looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, the cool thing about Etsy is you can contact the sellers, and you can kind of tell them what you're looking for, and you can say, I want the old Rex helmet, and they can usually make some modifications.
Yeah.
Steve says JD's got so much stuff he can mail you a cosplay outfit.
Probably.
To be honest with you, I do have a black tunic, a black pair of pants, and depending on the size boot you wear, I do have black boots that you could probably do some kind of modify.
Boots.
Oh, well, see, there you go.
Because I bought them when I was trying to put together my TIE Fighter pilot uniform.
Nice. See, if you had a black pair of pants that don't have any pockets, and then and I could send you the black tunic that I have, then you can like put a cape on and do your own version of a Sith Lord. You could even pull off like a Count Dooku-ish type thing.
Okay, I could. I'm not going to do it at Texas in August.
Yeah, I'm not. That's just it. When we go to Texas, everybody, when we go to Rebel Scum Con, we're planning on taking some pictures. We're planning on maybe even doing a video and stuff like that. But I will not be in costume. There is no way in Texas in the summer that I am going to put on 4 layers of costume plus a robe to try to do the Jedi cosplay. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Sorry. That is like, yeah, that's hot.
Yeah. And not in a good way.
That's crazy hot. That's insanely hot, and I don't think I can make it.
All right. Well, let's move on. Let's talk Clone Wars.
Yes.
Let's talk some Clone Wars.
The Siege of Mandalore arc ish kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Starting off real brief. Gonna do a brief synopsis of each of the episodes.
I'm really, really, really going to try hard not to interrupt because this was such. Yeah.
Yeah. So
This was so cool.
first episode of this arc is episode 9 of the season. It was called Old Friends Not Forgotten. Now, as you remember from last week, the last story arc picked up where Bo-Katan picked up Ahsoka to get her help in Mandalore to they have a common enemy, Maul. So at the beginning of this one, Ahsoka and Bo-Katan contact Anakin and Obi-Wan to get help in capturing Darth Maul in Mandalore. And, they're kind of apprehensive at first. And then, Obi-Wan is. Anakin is like, he's kind of, wow, here's Ahsoka. Ahsoka's like all business, and he's wanting to catch up on old times, whatever. But they do go, although Obi-Wan has to. So Obi-Wan has to leave to go capture General Grievous. Our first tie-in to of Revenge of the Sith. And Anakin suggests that Rex, we just talked about, and a contingent of the 501st accompany Ahsoka to Mandalore and go fight the Maul loyalists. So then they go to Mandalore. Next episode is called The Phantom Apprentice. Very important show or episode in this arc, I think. Ahsoka and Maul have a tiny little lightsaber duel. And Maul relays some disturbing information to Ahsoka. And then there is I think this is the episode where they kind of get the idea that the arc is called the Siege of Mandalore, because there is a huge assault, battle between Bo-Katan and Rex's forces. We got a bunch of clones, a bunch of former Death Watch Mandalorians fighting against Darth Maul's Mandalorians. And so there's a lot of fighting. This is a very action-packed episode, let's say that. And then, the Ahsoka and Maul have another fight. There's a lot of fighting between Ahsoka and Maul in this episode. And then they're on this like catwalk type thing. And Maul is trying to escape the planet, but he falls, and Ahsoka rescues him. And then Maul is captured by the clone troopers. And then the next episode is called Shattered. And Ahsoka and Rex are taking Maul prisoner. And they... is it just Ahsoka, or was it Ahsoka and Rex? I think it was just Ahsoka. She meets up with holograms of Mace Windu and Yoda.
Well, no. At first it's Mace Windu, Yoda, Ahsoka, and Bo-Katan, I think.
Was it?
Well,
yeah, I don't remember, because she's talking to him, and there's there's a comment where she says she did her duty as a citizen, and Yoda's like, not as a Jedi, and she's like, no.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Which we'll get into because I wanted to talk about that. But yeah.
so this is where they find out that Obi-Wan was actually sent to Utapau to track down Grievous, and then there's this they're flying, they're in the big Jedi cruiser, which kind of looks like a Star Destroyer, and they're on their way to Coruscant, and not Anakin, Ahsoka gets this feeling, she has this force vision or force sense or whatever of Anakin's fall to the dark side. So she kind of has a moment. And then Sidious executes Order 66. And that's when the clone troopers, including Rex, all turn on her, and she tries to escape. And they run around throughout this starship trying to find Ahsoka. And she lets Maul go to create a distraction, and then gets the help of some astromech droids, and finally is able to remove Rex's inhibitor chip. And then finally, episode 12, the final episode of the Clone Wars, was called Victory and Death. And so the cruiser is it's going down. It's Maul destroyed the hyperdrive generator, causing all sorts of chaos on the cruiser. So it's about to fall out. It's fallen out of hyperspace. It's about to fall into a planet or a moon or something like that. And this continues Ahsoka's fight against the clones, while at the same time she's trying to keep Maul from getting away in the only shuttle that they can get away from. And then Rex helps her stun all of the clone troopers, and then they find so Rex is flying this other ship while the cruiser's going down, and Ahsoka gets on the ship, and they escape to this moon, and they bury a bunch of the clones because all the clones, of course, died because they crashed into a moon. So they
Which tends to
bury
happen.
the clones, and Ahsoka throws down one of her lightsabers, and then at the very end scene we see Darth Vader on the moon and picks up the lightsaber and then walks away. And that is the final arc of the Clone Wars. All good things have to end. Mike Sadler has come in. This was, I would definitely have to say that of the final season of the Clone Wars, this was the best story arc.
Oh yeah. Well, like we talked about, Bad Batch was an introduction.
Yeah.
The Martez sisters was supposed to be a what happened to Ahsoka after she left the Order kind of situation, which we all kind of were like, meh.
But mostly it was filler.
Yeah, mostly, yeah. It was definitely meh. And then this episode was definitely about like her coming back, trying to help, trying to end some storylines as far as like what happened to Maul. Trying to introduce this idea that the clones were under the control of Sidious through the use of inhibitor chips and things like that. I think it was trying to insert plot points that were going to come up later, and I think they that's basically what this was for. I mean, really,
definitely, yeah. It was a large, at least at the beginning, a large part of it was her coming to terms with having to sort of come back to the Jedi Order.
Well, and like you mentioned, like Yoda and her having a one-on-one conversation. Not him saying or her saying she was doing it as a citizen, not as a Jedi, and he was questioning whether she really what either way, and that kind of thing, and kind of questioning where her stance was or how she felt about doing stuff for the Jedi.
You know what I forgot about this arc from the first time I watched it, which was back in 2020. Was there was a callback to Star Wars Rebels, because at the very beginning, the very first episode of this arc, somebody mentions we got a transmission from somebody named Fulcrum,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, "Oh, it's Saw Gerrera," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's not Saw Gerrera." And so yeah, I like that little hint back to Rebels, uh, talking about Fulcrum using that code phrase. Um, but yeah, that whole first, well, not first, but like the reunion between Ahsoka and Anakin. It was like that's a pretty that's a pretty emotional dynamic because you got Anakin that's like, oh, Ahsoka, like wanting to catch up on old tames, and him getting all emotional, and she's just like, yeah, we got things to do. It's like, damn, Ahsoka, damn, she is all business. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I was just like, and then we'll get to that. There's another quote from Ahsoka um, that we will talk about in a little bit more detail,
Okay.
um, because it's in the larger scope of a uh, discussion we're going to have about this arc.
Mm-hmm.
But the quote is, "I know Anakin." Just hold on to that thought, folks.
Yeah, yeah. Hold on to that thought.
Hold on to that. But yeah, so you get this whole, she's coming back and she needs help, and they're reluctant because they're like, well, we don't want to get involved in Mandalore's war. It's like, but it's Maul. It's Maul. You need to have something to do with this. You need
Mm-hmm.
to take care of him because, yeah. Um, but then, aside from when they finally get there, they move over and like Mandalore is just a chaos. It's like
Mm-hmm.
just crazy. Like Maul has taken over, of course, and it's a complete wreck now. You've got like these different factions of Mandalorians. Basically, you have a civil war going on
Mm-hmm.
Mandalore, and it's affecting the people. And then the clones come in, and they hide. They fight the Maul Mandalorians into hiding, and then they're basically like an occupation force, and Bo-Katan is not cool with that. She's like, my people will not stand for this. She's just like,
Mm-hmm.
not cool. And it's like, well, once we find Maul, then we won't have to be here anymore. Uh, but yeah, just Mandalore is a mess, and so you get this whole battle, this epic battle on Mandalore. You've got two sides of it. You got Ahsoka and Maul, which we will get to, but then you have like these different factions of Mandalorians fighting each other, and it's just like taking over the city, and it was epic. I felt like it was an epic, as much as an animated episode could be epic. It was just epic. I mean, it's like
Mm-hmm.
war. It was awesome,
I honestly think the only thing wrong with it is it just wasn't more of it.
yeah. I was gonna say it's like they really should have, for lack of a better way to put it, they should have dragged that out a little more.
Oh yeah, 100%. That actually, I feel like almost, and I felt like this the first time I watched it. I said they almost could have dragged this whole Mandalorian story arc out a lot further, and like ended season 7 with that, and then taken the rest of the arc and kind of expanded it a little bit and made like a season 7.5 or even a short season 8 or something.
Yeah,
Because the whole Mandalorian, the whole Siege of Mandalore thing could have been drawn out a lot more. There could have been a lot more to it.
I agree. Not just because it would have made the story better, but because I like Mandalorian stuff. So
Oh well, the Mandalorian stuff, the confrontation between Ahsoka and Maul. I mean, we
oh
can
my
talk about that
gosh.
too. I mean,
Okay, let's just get into it. That battle between Ahsoka and Maul was
you can tell, and I mean, you can really tell that when they decided to do the duel between the two of them, which are just two epic characters,
Yeah.
when they decided to do the duel between the two of them, when they decided to get Ray Park to do the original Darth Maul stuff, and then they put everything on mocap and they translated the mocap into animation, you can tell there's a difference. I mean, you can
Yeah.
see the difference. But I almost wish that when Clone Wars had done all of their lightsaber battles, that they had taken the same time and attention to do that same thing throughout the Clone Wars, because I think that would have put Clone Wars even on a higher level.
I agree. But I think up until this point, I feel like they didn't really care about the idea of Clone Wars being cinematic.
Yeah.
But this duel between Ahsoka and Maul was cinematic.
Oh, it was.
I
It
mean,
was. It was fantastic.
this duel ranks very high across Star Wars as one of the best lightsaber duels.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for good reason.
And the fact that it was animated and it was one of the people, and it's one of people's favorite duels is epic in and of itself.
It was crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
It's like when you compare it. Okay, so when you compare it to animated lightsaber duels, there is no comparison.
No.
But when you compare it to all lightsaber duels, it still ranks up there pretty high.
Even though it's animated.
Even though it's animated, it's just.
But like I said, they use mocap and they translate it into animation, and like I said, you can see the difference, and it still was freaking cool.
Yeah.
I mean, Clone Wars style awesome animation that they already had, and then they put in mocap, and they're like, oh yeah.
Tina says that it was beautiful looking.
I agree.
It was just.
I agree.
It was so good, but. Going back to what I was mentioning before, when they're having this thing and he's telling her what's going to happen to Anakin, and she's like, no, that's not going to happen. I know Anakin. And when she says that, your heart just sinks because you're like,
well, and that's the thing, though. Is that you got to think about, and I thought about this earlier. I thought about, kind of in a what if scenario. And my what if scenario would be, what if Qui-Gon had survived? And what if Anakin was Qui-Gon's next apprentice behind Obi-Wan? And what if Ahsoka had gotten trained by Obi-Wan? And because Obi-Wan kind of said the same thing. There's no way Anakin would do these things. There's no way,
here's the thing, because I think that like Qui-Gon was to a certain extent that father figure to him. And would have been that father figure. Obi-Wan was more a instructor, brother type dynamic. And so he had to look to somebody else to be that father figure, and unfortunately ended up being Palpatine.
Darth Sidious. Yeah, it ended up being Palpatine.
So if Qui-Gon had lived, he would not have needed Sidious as that father figure. And I don't think would have ever gone down that dark path.
But see, and I kind of think the reason why I say that is because Anakin was a very unconventional Jedi, where Qui-Gon was also not a conventional Jedi. But Qui-Gon was a non-conventional Jedi in the sense that he wanted to follow the old ways of being keepers of the peace and being people who helped, and not being a person who's involved in politics. And you even hear it in this arc of the Clone Wars. Ahsoka directly accuses Obi-Wan of being part of the politics and the politicians, and being a soldier rather than being what the Jedi were meant to be.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I think that I had heard somebody actually kick back against Obi-Wan and say, you're doing the wrong thing. Your priorities are not where they need to be. And she called him out for it. And, in that sense, would Qui-Gon have trained Anakin in a sense that he would have been that unconventional Jedi, but he would not have lost the faith in it like he did. He would have still had the faith. It would have been Qui-Gon saying, look, yeah, I know the Jedi are screwing up, but we need to bring them back. And Qui-Gon would have done a better job of being able to convince Anakin that that's what needed to happen, was
Yeah.
to bring the Jedi back to where they needed to be. And Ahsoka could have done the same thing for Obi-Wan, saying, we're not politicians, we're not soldiers. We are protectors. We're keepers of the peace. We are people who are supposed to help others, not be soldiers.
That's what the Jedi Order needed. They needed more people who were like, we need to be keepers of the peace and not soldiers.
Yeah, and that's
And
why that's why like Qui-Gon Jinn and Ahsoka are like two of my top three most favorite characters in Star Wars, is because they were trying to stay true to what the Order was really about, as opposed to like Obi-Wan just following orders blindly and saying, we have to be a part of this war, we have to keep fighting this war.
that reminds me of another conversation that Ahsoka has. She has it with Rex, and there's this moment where she talks about, we're supposed to be keepers of the peace, but I have been a warrior my whole life
Mm-hmm.
As a Jedi, and that's when Rex is talking. Well, I was bred to be a warrior, so I don't know any different. And
Yeah.
if this war hadn't happened, I wouldn't be around. And she's like, well, I guess some good things come out of the war.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think at that point, I think that conversation with him, it made her realize that what the Jedi doing? He literally says he was bred for war and he's in a war. Sees know nothing but war. So what separated the two of them? Being bred for war and being a Jedi were two. Being a clone and being bred for war and being a Jedi and being a keeper of the peace were two different things. And I
right.
think she realized that there was no difference between the two of them. They were all just soldiers, and that's not what the Jedi were for. And I think it just cemented the idea to her that not because I think if I remember correctly, I think the conversation between her and Yoda happened after that.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah. So when she has the conversation with Yoda, it's, I didn't do this as a Jedi. I did not do this as being part of the Jedi. I did this as a citizen. I did this to help people, and that's become her new mold. That's become who she is helping people and doing things and doing the things the Jedi should have been doing all along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some deep conversations and deep moments surrounding Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
Her new relationship with Anakin, which is kind of just a business relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Her relationship with Rex, because he has to fight his brothers because they're, and that's why he uses the stun setting. He doesn't want to kill them because they're his brothers, but they're not that they're wrong. They're just brainwashed.
Yeah, I mean, they don't know the difference
They
between
don't
what
have
they're
any
doing
control
because
over
of
it, right?
right.
And then unfortunately they die anyway because the freaking cruiser crashes into a moon. But
Yeah.
But yeah, you get this relationship between Ahsoka and Rex, and then you get this odd relationship between Ahsoka and Rex, or not Rex, but Maul.
Yeah.
It's like a relationship of convenience or necessity.
Well, I
it's
mean,
like,
let's be
it's like the
honest.
whole thing,
Let's
I'm
be
helping
honest.
you out not because I want to help you, but I need a distraction. And no, I'm not going to give you a weapon because I'm not rooting for you.
I think she kind of used Maul in the same way that Rey accidentally uses the when she meets Han Solo for the first time and they're on the cargo ship and those things that she lets loose by accident and they start tearing everything up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like it starts with an
Yeah.
R, but I can't think
Those
of it off the
big
top of my head.
monster things. Yeah, I
The
know.
big, those big looking. She kind of uses him the same way that Ray actually accidentally used those things, because she turned him loose just to create chaos,
Right.
to create, to create a problem, knowing that's exactly what he was going to do.
Right.
But I don't think she realized what his end game was going to be. And really, he didn't really have an end game. It was just escape, which she knew he was going to do anyway. And then she tries to stop him. And I'm like, yeah. She tries to pull a Darth Vader and bring his ship down, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I didn't that didn't work out too well.
No.
But yeah, so we get a lot of tie-ins to Revenge of the Sith because you see the same events going on but from a different perspective. And mostly you don't even see the events, you just hear about them.
Yeah, kind of an echo
Yeah.
of the events. Yeah.
Yeah, you hear about Obi-Wan trying to capture Grievous on Utapau. You hear Mace Windu dying,
Mhm.
and Anakin's fall to the dark side. You do see Sidious give the order,
Mhm.
but you get a lot of different perspective on the events that were going on, and I really like how they tied that into the last episode, last couple episodes anyway.
The freaking imagery. The imagery of this show. There is so many posters. There's so many freaking like what do I want to say? There's so many posters and so many like pieces of art that came from this last episode, like visual imagery, because the
Mhm.
visual imagery that they were showing, and like the parts where you see Ahsoka there with all the helmets, and you see Jesse's helmet, and you see that they've all passed, and then Vader shows up later and picks up her lightsaber, and you see the owl, and you see the wrecked ship, and there's like hardly any spoken word, but there really doesn't need to be
Yeah,
because the images and everything that's coming out of that is just so powerful because of everything that has happened and knowing who Vader is and knowing his association with Ahsoka and all these different things. You just and by the time when these came out, we didn't even have Ahsoka season 1 yet. So
right.
when you see it, when you see Ahsoka and Anakin's relationship rekindled again in the world between worlds, then you go back and you watch this again. Because I watched it originally when it came out, and then I hadn't watched it again until we actually talked about doing an episode of it. And then after seeing the Ahsoka series and then seeing things like Obi-Wan and things like that, it brings back, I mean, it changes the dynamic of it, much like Andor changed Rogue One when Andor season 2 ended. It changed how you see Rogue One. And when I went back and watched Clone Wars season 7 to kind of get a little up, to get updated on the show for our discussion, it was like I saw it in such a different way, such a different light.
So
And it was so crazy.
here's those images you're talking about. There's this one.
Yep.
Yep. And then
Yep.
a little bit closer up.
Yep.
And then
Of course, that one.
yeah. I mean, and you
Well,
already
even the one, and
know,
even the one where you see Darth Vader's silhouette reflected in the helmet, in the visor of the helmet.
yeah.
That one was freaking. That was
I
freaking
mean,
amazing
the
too.
animation was just stellar in this.
Yeah,
It was just so good.
yeah, yeah. They definitely put a lot of time, effort, and love into this last season to give people, I think, to give people the best closure they could as far as the Clone Wars was concerned. They did what they could to try to make it, to try to give that closure, but it turned into some of the best. I mean, the Clone Wars, everybody respects the Clone Wars, everybody loves the Clone Wars, but this made it. I mean, we even went that much further beyond with the Clone Wars, and I
Yeah.
think probably even brought a lot of people that didn't watch the Clone Wars before, brought it back and had them go watch the other seasons again.
Mhm.
And I've even heard people like argue to the point of like fist fights about the Clone Wars movie that came out in theaters. Oh no, it's part of the movies. That was a movie that came out in the theaters. I'm like, okay, hey, I'm not going to argue with you. I'll put it in
All
there.
right. I mean,
I
it
don't
did.
care.
It
I'm
did.
good with it. It didn't come out in theaters. I'm not going to argue with it. I'm good with it. I like the Clone Wars movie. I thought it was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Oh, I did too. Yeah. Shoot, maybe we should talk about that next week
Yeah, baby.
because we don't have any other ideas yet. No, but that was the Clone Wars movie. It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch it again. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I
like,
mean,
but wait, I need a good excuse to go watch Star Wars movies. Oh yeah,
yeah, really. Do you really though?
do I really?
No. Yeah. Man, any is anybody still in the chat room?
Oh yeah, there we got about 5 people in the chat.
uh,
Either people are watching Superman or they're just dealing with their own issues right now. So I'm sure they'll watch it on the rewind. That's fine.
everybody's going to see Superman without us.
Everybody's going to see Superman or doing their summer activities, which is fantastic. That's awesome. Hope you guys are safe. Hope you guys are having fun. If you're watching on the rewind, yeah.
Yeah. Anybody in the chat have any thoughts about this final story arc of the Clone Wars?
Did you? Well, I mean, I would ask what your favorite scene was, but I mean, you kind of already said.
Um, I I mean, I feel like I'm being dishonest to myself not mentioning the Siege of Mandalore. Um,
Specifically, the fight.
but yeah, I mean the whole fight. There was so much about this episode that was so flippin' good.
You mean the arc or the episode?
The arc, yeah,
The arc.
yeah, yeah. No, it was just there was just so much to it. There was so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
They packed so much into 4 episodes, and unlike the previous arc, none of it was filler.
No.
And like we both said, there could have been more, and there should have been more. But yeah, I mean, well, did you have a favorite scene or a
I actually
favorite?
Tina said the final story arc was the best. Maul calling Ahsoka Lady Tano was so
Oh,
sexy
that was
and
that
such
was
a
cool.
such a respectful villain. I actually did that. I got a funny story because you can see right over here. You can see right over here. This is a picture with Ashley Eckstein and Rosario Dawson that I got in Japan, which is I love this picture. This picture is freaking outstanding. But I actually when I the funny story about that is when I walked in to meet both of them, I actually went up to Ashley and I kind of gave her a little bow and I said Lady Tano, and then I went to Rosario Dawson and I said Lady Tano. So
Oh
and they
man,
both thought it was funny and they thought it was cute. So so just kind of me being cheesy, but I was just trying to play the part, and I was dressed in my Jedi. I obviously say I was just in my Jedi robes, and I got a really good hug from Rosario, so that was awesome. But yeah, they thought it was cute. They laughed and thought it was cute, and they said thank you and all that kind of stuff. So it was
that's
really awesome experience. But no, yeah, I think honestly, uh, yeah, I agree, Tina. Did you see Tina's comment?
the ending with Ahsoka leaving her lightsaber after burying the troopers, and then Vader finding it. I should. So okay, let's talk. Was she doing that because she wanted Vader to find it,
No, I don't think
or
so.
was there something else? Yeah, was there something else going on there?
I think this is just my take on it, but I think it was the symbolism of her leaving that part of her life behind.
Okay.
I don't think it really had anything to do with her with Vader finding us. I don't think that at that time, I don't think that she knew that Anakin had become Vader. I don't think that she knew
Yeah,
that
I,
somebody would show up there and find it.
I don't think she knew until Rebels.
Yeah, I don't think she knew until Rebels that Vader and Anakin were the same person. I don't think she knew that. And so I don't think it had anything to do with Vader. I think it was just a symbolism of her leaving that part of her life behind and moving on to her rebel fulcrum status, and
Yeah,
then building 2 new lightsabers. Which I mean, obviously, um, me being a lightsaber geek, her lightsabers, her Clone Wars or not Clone Wars, her fulcrum lightsabers are some of my favorite. I love her fulcrum lightsabers.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad she traded out. But Tina says no. I think she was just saying goodbye to her old life. I agree.
Yeah, I
I
think.
agree.
Yeah, I
I think it was just a symbolism that she was leaving the life of the Clone Wars and the clones and all that. I think she was leaving that all behind to move on to other things, to end up to start a new era.
yeah. But then of course she gets back into the fight anyway. So.
Yeah, but in the same respect, she got back into the fight better than what she was. She had grown out of that Clone Wars era, and she decided to move on to other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tina says she knew something had happened to Anakin, but she didn't know that he was Vader.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
think. I think. Yeah,
I
there
don't
was.
think she realized it till I don't think she found out till later.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, all in all, for her as her character, I'm glad they went back and readdressed the situation with her leaving the order and becoming who she was and becoming kind of a. And I don't even like to say that she. Everybody's like, I'm no Jedi, blah 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 blah. In some cases, I think that she carried more of the Jedi spirit than a lot of the Jedi did.
Well, sure.
And so to
Well,
say that she wasn't a Jedi, I think she was at heart.
I
In
mean,
her heart of hearts, I think she was a Jedi. But I think I want to say she was more of what some people would call a rogue Jedi or a gray Jedi.
yeah. Well,
She kind of,
not to get into to previous episodes of Clone Wars, but or previous story arcs, but really, I mean, she left because she felt betrayed.
yeah,
I mean, it
yeah, she
was
felt betrayed. She felt betrayed by the current administration of the Jedi, blaming her and not actually listening to her.
yeah. So I mean, I don't really blame her for leaving. Uh, however, at the same time, I feel like if she would have stayed, maybe Anakin wouldn't have fell. Maybe I don't
There's
know.
a lot of what ifs.
We can talk what ifs all day, but no. Um,
Yeah. Maybe we ought to do a whole show of like Star Wars what ifs.
Star Wars what ifs. Oh my gosh, yeah,
Our own personal dialogue of
that'd
what
be
ifs.
that'd be crazy.
It would be crazy.
Yeah.
It would be crazy.
All right. Well, I think that's it. That's all we've got.
It was such a great story arc, and I know, but we've touched on some of the great points of it, and everybody knows. And I mean, the points that we've talked about kind of speak for themselves as far as how fantastic they were. And we don't want to go into too much more detail, for sake of time reasons, but this was the best part of season 7, I think, is these 4
Oh,
episodes, and
sure.
and
That is.
and the visual imagery, the cinematics, the mocap animation, it just solidified this as being one of the top seasons as far as Clone Wars is concerned, and I think it came out great. I'm glad they readdressed everything. I'm glad they brought it back to kind of um to try to finish that whole idea.
Yeah.
To try to finish the Clone Wars idea, and what they had created with Clone Wars and the following. Yeah, I agree, Tina. Just wonderful storytelling overall.
It
Yeah,
was. Yeah. It was.
it
It
was.
was.
Yep. I mean, we said the Martez sisters arc was kind of boring, but this made up for it in every way
Oh yeah.
possible.
Yeah. You saw how much Anakin still affected her and Mando on her own show. Yeah.
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 Yep.
Um, totally getting off on a tangent here, but I remember actually was it in Book of Boba Fett? Shit, now I don't remember. Um, the one where she's having a conversation with Luke.
Oh, that's yeah, Mando season. You don't know it. Is that Mando season 3?
Yeah, now I don't remember which season it
Yeah,
was.
it's Mando season 3.
yeah, but yeah, so you get that she has a conversation with the son of her of her master. Oh, we got a
Former man.
hey, it's bedtime. Hey, baby girl. Say hi.
Hi. Hi.
Um, and what was I talking about? Oh no, she has a conversation with the son of her master, and
Mm-hmm.
you got to imagine that's got to have some sort of emotional bearing on her.
I still like the friend of the family comment. I mean, because when she has a conversation with Luke, you got to know that now she knows the truth about everything that happened.
Yeah,
And she still claims to be a family friend and all this kind of jazz. I'm like, that just carries
now
more weight than you could possibly know.
I don't. Man, I can't. I don't remember the reference. I don't remember the reference you're talking about.
It was in the same. It was in the same season when she talks about, or Mando asks her why she's there, and she says she's an old friend of the family.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so next week we're going to talk about the Clone Wars movie.
I guess we're talking about the Clone Wars movie.
Yeah, sounds
That-
good
that-
an idea as any. Actually,
that-
what was on our schedule? Let me look at our schedule and see if we actually
Sooner or later, we are going to do a series on ships of the Empire, ships of the Rebellion, and maybe possibly even ships of the Underworld.
Yeah. Oh, we will.
Eventually.
We'll get
Yeah,
to
eventually
it.
we will get to that.
I'm just not ready for it because it's going to take a lot of research. Because ships of the Empire may have to be a two-parter.
Could be.
Because we got to do
TIE fighters and everything else.
TIE fighters alone has to be its own episode. There are so many different types of TIE fighters. But yeah, we'll get to that. We will get to that. And looking at our schedule, I actually didn't have anything written down yet. So
okay. Well,
here we go.
sounds
Clone
like
Wars movie.
Clone Wars the movie next week. Woo! If you haven't
Thanks
watched
to
it
the
yet, go
few of
watch
you
it.
who joined the chat. I don't know where everybody else was at on a Tuesday night. Come on, folks. What else you got to do on a Tuesday night?
But look at our smiling
Joy
faces.
says, I'm here. My internet keeps dying. I appreciate you sticking around, Joy.
Yes,
and
thank you,
everybody
Joy.
else for
Thank you,
hanging
Joy.
out. Tina, Joy.
It is summertime and everybody else is doing things besides sitting in their homes watching us. So I mean, I get it.
And here we
It's
are,
okay.
summertime, sitting here talking about Star Wars.
I'm just glad I'm not at work.
Hey, at least you're not at work. That's good.
I'm not. That's right. I'm not at work.
So next week, come back and join us for Clone Wars movie. JD will be wearing his stranger mask the entire time. Just like that. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. Smash that like button. Most importantly, subscribe. We need more subscribers. But yeah, tell your friends all about us. The good stuff, not the bad stuff about us talking about squirrels and showing our thingies.
We did not come up with that. That was completely chat based. I'm just saying that was not us. We did not come up with this idea to tell people that
we had to explain that on the latest episode of Kryptonian Chronicles because Dave looked at us like we were insane.
He did. He looked at Watch Kryptonian Chronicles. He looked at us like we had two heads.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, we did not come up with that. That's the people in the chat. The people down in the chat.
Yeah. You people in the chat.
You people in the chat.
You
have caused us to call it "Show Us Your Thingies."
Yeah. So don't tell people about that. Don't tell them about us showing our thingies. But yeah, tell them the good stuff. Get them to come, get them to subscribe, and get them to come next week for us to talk about the Clone Wars movie. And we'll see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your week. For those of you that are going to get to see Superman this week, I hope you enjoy it.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. Stay spoiler free on social media, please. Because
Until we do our review, then you're not going to get spoiler free. So just saying.
Yeah. That is true, Tina. Some people might actually show up just for the showing thingies. Because
If I'm going to be, yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
allowed on YouTube? I gotta check this out. No, they're
I'm
just
not.
showing Star Wars toys.
Exactly. You thought we were like nerd only fans, but we're actually like just Star Wars nerds, and that's it.
All right. See everybody next week. Enjoy, and may the Force be with you.